And welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How are we doing this fine morning?
Yeah. I'm
Not fine.
hungover to fuck. Yeah. I'm pretty hungover this morning.
You got to close his eyes before he bleeds to death, folks.
Yeah, it's been the day and the night and the morning have now all kind of bled into one. So yeah, pretty
I haven't
much
slept in 2 days, and I look better than you do.
Yeah, but you haven't drank as what are you drinking?
Yeah, and I'm 20 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. So very hungover. So cup of tea, water will be grand in a few hours. So look, started off with well, this is actually our second time starting this episode off. To kind of show people how hungover I actually was, I forgot to press record in the first one, and we were talking away for 5 minutes. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll get on with it. But main news, I suppose, if people are in Portimao, 28th or 29th and 30th, the Ducati boys will be in town. So Pecco, Bastianini, Bezzecchi, what's his name? Morbidelli, Marquez, and them. They will all be in Portimao, is my understanding, testing with the World Superbikes. Now they will not be on MotoGP machinery. They will only be on just Ducati V4Rs. But look, again, if you're there, it's a great opportunity to get down there. They will be a little bit more relaxed, you know what I mean, and excited to get the season going. Gonna get an autograph or a signature or a photo with them or whatever.
What was the last time Marquez was on a superbike for a test?
Well, no, he was around there. Remember when he was coming back last year? He was doing his 600s and he was doing
I know that. That was like a test of how.
Yeah, I would like. Okay, so the RCV 213 or what is it? RCV 2 is it 213S?
213V. I know. I was going to buy one.
Like I would class that now as still similar performance to a current superbike. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
even though it's like 5 or 10 years old, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. Anyway,
time flies.
If you're down there or around there, or you can get a cheap flight in there, it's like 80 quid from a taxi from Faro Airport to the thing. So if you are a Marc Marquez or Pecco or any other fan of them, they will be around there. It's a pity that it's just too late for me to go there. I would have went there otherwise myself. I have a few contacts in the circuit. As you know, I wired the emergency safety lights around that track, so I know it intimately, let's just say. Speaking of getting back into testing, Honda have revealed their plan. Now, I heard about this on Tuesday, did a bit of digging as well, found out a little bit more, did a video on Thursday. We're shooting this on Saturday morning. Thanks, Jake.
Really early in the morning.
After a mad Friday night. And yeah, so Honda are going to be doing 22 days of testing during the 2024 season. Now, when you put that into perspective as well, right? 22 days of testing with 22 or 23 weekends, you know, that's not a lot of breaks at weekend. Now, look, okay, it will happen during the week and stuff like this, but my
if
understanding,
they don't make strides, they should just put "I give up" a sign on the door.
That's what I said in my video on Sunday. Is like, and I've said this for a while, right? Forget about whether we agree or disagree on concessions, right? I believe Honda, Yamaha, and Marc Marquez are all in the same position in 2024. There is no more excuses. You have everything you need.
Yeah. Like Yamaha, you got to feel for your God. I've got as much as I dislike concessions in this situation. Like if Kawasaki came in, I would not have a problem with the concessions. But anyhow, because they're new. But you know, with Yamaha, they're with that inline 4, and it's a dead end. So no matter how many tests you have, you're still hitting that physics dead end wall.
Yeah,
So I don't mind them having the concessions because it's kind of.
No, look, I would disagree with you a little bit there, right? And I'm a Yamaha fan, right? Yamaha haven't changed the bike at all. They haven't looked at the philosophy of their bike in years, right? And even Quartararo said it straight out, like, in a very polite way, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But like the problem with the bike is always the same. Yes, it doesn't have the power, but if you look at what happened between the 22 and the 23 season,
Mm-hmm.
right? The others outdeveloped them, not just engine-wise, right? Because Yamaha is still always the strongest in the corner and whatever, right? In the mid part of the corner. But now they've lost that. And
that just boggles me because they've always been good in their handling, and they can get power. There's nothing in the rule book. There's nothing in the engineering parameters that says that inline 4 can't make as much power as the V4. It just runs out of reliability. The long crank starts to get wobbly. Starts to twist.
And look, I genuinely think now. Look, let's be fair and let's be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yamaha did improve their engine in 2023, right? They were not the slowest down the speed trap. Yes, they were running a lighter aero package than everyone in the rest of the field. And that is probably part of the reason why on top speed, they were thereabouts. They're losing out massively on acceleration, and so are Honda, to be fair, right?
Oh, now you mentioned, that could be the reason they're not getting the lesser aero package. That's why they're not handling. And they're getting,
but again, they're forced to run that. Like the big wing that they ran in in Valencia at the end of the season. It's fucking great to see it. But if they don't have an engine that can push that down the straight, and if they're losing 10, 15 kilometers an hour at the end of the straight to a satellite bike, let's forget the factory bikes, to a satellite bike, then they're fucked, right? If they're slower down the straight than the Honda, they're fucked, right? So, there's very few tracks now. There is a few, but there is very few tracks now that are really nimble. Do you know what I mean? Where high corner speed bikes with not a lot of grunt out of the corner are
speed track
are going to help you, right? And there's very few. There's a lot of straights now, or there's a lot of corners now in the championship where it's a slower corner coming out onto the main straight, and they get eaten. Like if you look at the back straight, Kota, for example, into that back straight, it's a 90-degree left-hand turn. Hey, Paul, left turn! But it's like, it's slow. It's maybe first, maybe second, second probably, maybe third on some bikes, right? On the exit of the corner, right? And that's mainly to control the wheelie, not the actual, what I mean? So for me, when I look at it, yes, they do have to improve their engine, and I do believe they will. But it is in the understanding of the bike development, and this is why your man going there from Ducati, I think, is very dangerous. He's going to bring an awful lot of understanding what a good bike does during the corner. Now, you always have to remember as well, the Japanese favor a bike that is short and high rather than low and long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see, can he, when he gets in there, change that kind of fundamental. Like if you look at KTM's bike,
and what do you think about him being always on a V4, right? And now he's going to try to put that engineering into an inline 4.
I think once he understands the characteristics of the engine,
you think
he will have it down, and he'll say, well, look, this is it. Like, and look, I still believe
he's going to be the best engineer on the team. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be the best engineer on the team.
Well, he is the one with the championship bike data in his head, right? Yeah. So, you can talk about all of this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, he was Gigi's right-hand man. I know the mechanic came out and was like, Gigi doesn't know everything. He fucking knows it.
He knows everything.
Do you know what I mean? And like we've heard
he knows the trend pattern. Yeah,
but we've had multiple people confirm that, you know, nothing at all happens in that team unless Gigi says so.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's like, and if he doesn't fucking like you, he's an absolute asshole and he'll fuck you out the door. End of story. Do you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Gigi's Ducati team, and that's the fucking end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, back to Bradl. I think Bradl is also doing the Jerez Superbike test on, I want to say the 22nd of January or 23rd, maybe. And then he is going off to Malaysia.
I'm curious of what he's going to do on a Superbike.
Who?
Bradl.
No, he's bringing the MotoGP bike to the Superbike
okay.
test. So probably won't be timed, but he will be. He will be there to see exactly what is what and get the bike. Like people would be. Well, I suppose like Honda and Yamaha definitely have no fucking innovations to the first shakedown test. They have to put as many miles on the clock. But like I don't expect to see when, like, because we're getting close now to which is kind of exciting. We're getting close to February 1st to 3rd, which is the shakedown test, and then a few days later is the actual test. So kind of getting a bit of like a happy tingly feeling, you know.
I know.
The racing is coming back, but Bradl's going to do 22. Or sorry, there's 22 test days for Honda. Honda are looking out for someone else other than Bradl as well, because obviously 22 days is a massive amount of days to do testing. He's also doing 5 wildcard weekends, so it's going to be a fairly busy time for him. Now, I noticed that you're wearing an old brilliant t-shirt, right? So one of the stories during the week that I had was that this year we're going to have 3 riders potentially in the MotoGP era will be the first rider to win on 3 different manufacturers. So we have Mav, we have Jack, and we have Rins. And last year, I'll be honest, I kind of hope Mav would actually break the duck and be the first one to do it. Like Rossi failed to do it, do you know what I mean? So
right.
Kind of like, remember for myself, it would be great to see Mav to do it. I think Rins this year is an absolute massive threat to do it. You know, like
what's Rins on? I forget.
Yamaha.
Oh, that's right. Okay, no, I got you. Yeah, that's right.
And he's very good around the.
Well, that's right. Rins is gonna. That's right. Rins. Sometimes I get Rins and Mir mixed up. Rins is gonna do well on that Yamaha. I'll put my neck out on that.
Yeah. I think
you and I are the only one to think that, I believe. But
yeah, look, I just think Rins is just a dangerous rider. Not a dangerous rider as in like dangerous wipe you out, but he's just a dangerous rider that you can never really predict how he's going to do. And I think, and I know this sounds weird, but I think he's probably one of the best riders to ride just on feel, you know, and looking how he, like, it still amazed me how he adapted so quickly to the Honda compared to the Mir, for example. You know, he really showed the difference.
Go down the line. Yeah.
A difference in class. Do you know what I mean? Of not difference in class, but it's just kind of like
you adapted to that as good as you can adapt to it more than anyone.
Exactly. Yeah. And look, you know, okay, he was unlucky in Misano to break his leg, but I think he could have been a very strong threat to Mark. Do you know what I mean? He could have pushed Mark more than Mir, if you get me. Do you know what I mean? Like he had 1 year in there, and like he was leaps and bounds ahead of Taka. Do you know what I mean? Who was his teammate? Right. First rule of racing, beat your teammate, right? You know, but yeah. So I thought it was just pretty interesting, and I think, you know, not to say that Mav won't do it, but at times I just feel Mav just doesn't have that fucking killer instinct. Do you know what I mean?
I think
to accept you're just going to win it or crash.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just that fear of neither.
Yeah. You
know what I mean?
Have that winner or Bennett deal, you know?
Yeah, and it's the fear of like putting it all on the line. I would fucking absolutely love to see Jack Miller do it. Now,
he's had that.
There is one thing though. God. There is one thing about this. If the rider wins a sprint race, it doesn't count. You know that?
No. Oh, well, I can see that. I can see the reasoning behind it. Yes.
It's not a Grand Prix victory.
Right. Because you didn't do this.
So, like, if you look at Alex Marquez, technically, I don't think Alex. So, if you won two sprint races, and I think it's Alex has won 2 sprint races, is it? But not a major thing. He's a sprint race winner, but not a GP winner. And that goes down into your archive of MotoGP wins. So just so people will know during the year, if someone does win a sprint of the 3 of them, it doesn't count. Technically.
I'm going to make a prediction here, and some people aren't going to agree with me. Is
what's new?
Yeah. Oh, piss off. The New's not going to do well. They need to doom him. Rossi's cousin or brother, more on the Honda.
Do you think?
No, I don't think he's going to do well at all. You know why? Size. I think the size is going to the Honda's not used to having the deal with a guy that big, so they're going to have troubles setting the bike up with him.
Yeah.
2, weight's always a problem. You're always calling more weight into the
but to be fairness now, look, he's a long string of fucking misery, right? Do you know what I mean? There's fucking nothing. A gust of wind would fucking blow him down the road. Do you know what I mean?
Hold on. Now, not height. I thought his weight is up there too.
No. Listen, if you fucking turn him sideways, you think he's a pole. There's fucking nothing of him there. Like, do you know what I mean? He's long, but he's thin. Do you know what I mean? I saw a
couple of times genuinely because it piqued my attention that he was like some said he was like 170, some said it was 165 pounds. He was up there in weight. You know, it's getting tough. It's getting tough.
I don't
think through all the crap that comes across now.
I don't think he's that heavy. Like he is long, but I don't think he's.
So was Rossi. That's not a problem. So was Schwantz.
Yeah. Look, I don't think he's. I don't think he's 68 kilos.
But they always, it's tough. Everybody's 68 kilos. So they look up.
65, 68 kilos.
Yeah.
Is normal. And he's what? He's 1.8 meters.
Who did you Google that?
He's 6 foot.
I've tried that before. They Google that. Google.
No, it's TNT Sports.
So it's TNT Sports. I'm not familiar with that. For good, bad, or indifferent.
No, that's the main broadcaster in thing. So he's in around 68, which is not too heavy. Do you know what I mean?
8 times 2.2. So whatever that.
Yeah. So he's not too heavy, but he's he's a long string of misery. All right. So he's 149 pounds.
Okay.
So he's not heavy. You know, as I said, a gust of wind would blow him down the fucking road.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think very different. I think he's going to dominate Mir. I genuinely think he's going to put it to Mir.
I never thought much of Mir from day one. So
look, you can only compare people in the same team on the same bike. Do you know what I mean?
True.
And like, there's no point in saying, oh, you know, like he's not going to have a Ducati season. I don't think. In the Valencia test, he was quite good against Mir. I'm not sure was he very close or ahead of Mir. I think he could have been ahead. So look, for me, I think he's going to have a good year. Is he going to be a Marc Marquez? Fuck no.
No. He
but
don't have it in period.
Yeah, but it's not even that. That's just not what Honda need. They do not need an alien. They do.
You're right. Telling people that for how long we've been saying that. We've been saying that for 2-3 years.
They just need fellas that are fast, and then once they're comfortable at that pace, that's when you bring in the alien. And one of the funniest, talking about aliens, one of the funniest stories that I heard during the weekend, it actually went out Saturday morning or Saturday, was Fabio Quartararo, and he turns around and he says, I start every season believing that I can be world champion. And when I was reading the article, and the only reason I did a video was just like,
who said that?
Fabio Quartararo.
Okay, Quartararo, yeah.
And I was just like, well, fucking no shit, Sherlock. Like
everybody does that, yeah.
Every single person does that, and like even every race, right? Even if you're starting at the back of the grid, right? You have a sneaky hope or a fucking a silent wet dream that you win that race. Do you know what I mean? Even though that you probably know you won't.
Right.
You have, because otherwise there's no fucking point in being there, right?
Yeah, right.
So I'm still trying to figure out in my own head, why would he even say something? And so, like, the only thing that I can comprehend in this is that this is a message to Yamaha saying, I'm bought in for the start of the season. I'm going to try and do my maximum. It's up to you. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of laying pressure or blame straight onto Yamaha to make sure that they figure it out.
But I think that's asking too much, though, in that case. In this case. Because he's not an idiot. He has to know there's an inherent problem with the inline four at this point. He can't expect miracles.
I think he's only just expecting to be competitive. And like a miracle in race winnings, so like if you look at last year, right? Were they competitive? Not at fucking all. And like even Crutchlow had said it, do you know what I mean? That it's a slump. It's a fucking absolute shit slump of where they are, you know? And like they have to start turning the dial on this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like as we said at the very, very start, if Yamaha and Honda get all of these concessions, like they continue at their current pace. Now, let's be fair and let's be very honest. I am not expecting a massive improvement from Yamaha and Honda till mid-season.
I'm expecting it from Honda because they have the formula. They have a V4. The V4, it has pneumatic valves, so it should be powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They've been working on the same damn thing for God knows how long. They should have this bike down.
They should. But my understanding is that, okay, so as we know, Honda are running with Red Bull at the moment, and that is due to end the end of, I think, 2025, where Red Bull are going with Ford. Now, I'm not 100% sure of the Red Bull's agreement with them. I believe that it's Ford are doing the ICE engine, which is the internal combustion engine, and Red Bull powertrains are doing the hybrid system. That is my understanding. But Honda, who have no team to supply, or sorry, they do. Honda are then going with my understanding is with Aston Martin, and they're building the engine. Sorry, they're building a new engine regulations and system or new regulations for Formula One are coming in 2026.
Okay.
So because of that, I don't think there's any Honda engineers from the F1 program, because we've seen a lot of members say that, Joe, they got the Honda F1 engine program right. It took them 10 years to get this Honda engine program right. Do you know what I mean? And now they're going into it. Now they're going into another development of a new style Honda engine for the new F1 regulations. So therefore, I don't think the F1 capacity that people think is going to be there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They need to get European engineers. Period.
Yeah, look, I think look, if that was Joe, and we talked a little bit about this with Gigi, for example, with Gigi, if he was to go to Honda, I don't ever think, if he went to Honda, I don't ever think that he would be working side by side with the engineers in Japan.
No,
I don't.
He would just clean house and say, "Okay, Giuseppe, but Tony, you all got a job." Though.
He would, but I just think the location of it, like he would bring everything into as much as possible into Europe. Maybe the manufacturing of the engines and all of that would happen in Japan. That currently, I believe, happens in Formula One. A lot of the engineering for the thing is done in the UK, actually. So it's not outside Honda's.
I'll tell you a story about that after the thing. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I got a story on that.
So, no, look, I think it will be very, very interesting. The other thing is Red Bull disappearing off of Honda. Now, first and foremost, I wanted to talk about people turning around saying they're taking the budget from Honda and going to Tech 3. That is complete and utter bullshit. Yes, they are going to Tech 3. They sponsored Tech 3 while also sponsoring Repsol Honda throughout the years. So it is not that they're taking the funding from Repsol Honda and going to things. So it's not that they lost.
They already had it on there, right? They already had.
They had it on there for years, but it was It was more. I think it was Red Bull Cola or whatever. Which But which that is a standard operating procedure for Red Bull. So if you look at their Formula One teams, when they had it, they had Red Bull and then Toro Rosso, which is fucking Red Bull as well, right? The Toro Rosso team was sponsored by Red Bull Cola, and the main factory team or the main Red Bull team was sponsored obviously by Red Bull. So, and when Tech 3 came over to KTM, it was sponsored by the Cola team. So effectively, but I suppose where I want to go with this is that when Tech 3 became the gas team, that the reason they removed the Red Bull sponsorship was not that they lost it, but they wanted to do a branding exercise with gas, and it made completely no sense not to have gas written on the fucking side of the machine as the main sponsor and have Red Bull Cola there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. It wasn't that they lost the sponsorship. There was an agreement there. Whereas Red Bull have pulled out of the Repsol Honda contract.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So they have turned around and said no. While there was rumors that this may happen and people were like, yeah, it's going to happen, there was no official confirmation from either party, which I find very weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That because normally teams would announce that they have split with them. They would put it out there publicly, but they wouldn't publicize it. Does that make sense?
Shout it across the room.
Exactly, as if they were bringing someone in.
Right.
They would be screaming about it.
Right.
And that's
I thought the original scare was over Repsol themselves. Remember when they first came across? They said
that is the original scare. But my understanding with the Red Bull contract was that it was there solely because in 2006, I think it's 2006, Red Bull started sponsoring the riders' helmets and leathers, right? And in 2015, when after Mark won his championships, was his first or second I can't remember. 2015 anyway. Red Bull started to appear on the Repsol Honda bike itself.
Yeah,
and within that, they were mainly sponsoring Marc Marquez.
Yeah. And didn't they go with Red Bull? Didn't they? That's when they really started to go advertising ape shit. Period. I mean, they're
Red Bull.
Yeah.
No, that was around. I'd be lying if I said
1 year they ape shit with the advertising with sports.
Yeah, that's when they bought the two Red Bull Formula One teams. They went fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
every week I was getting mail from what's now known as the Red Bulletin, right?
Yeah.
But they were sending out free paper magazines every week to people that signed up online for, which I thought was funny because they could have just fucking emailed it. But anyway, long story short, so the story is not that Red Bull have lost, or Red Bull have pulled the funding from Repsol to go to Tech 3. That's a complete separate entity. The reason that they pulled it is because Mark is no longer there, and that was built into the contract. And I found it very funny that no one acknowledged from either party that did happen. Now, just want to quickly talk about concessions, because I know you're not a fan, right?
Well, I'm not a fan in the situation that it's here. Like I said, if Kawasaki came in or Suzuki came in that case, since they were so far back, yeah, I'm all for it. Yamaha, I'm more for it than Honda, not because it's Honda, it's just because they have that inline four and they have so much to catch up on. They more or less have to have a new bike, So
well, yeah. Look, they do. Technically, if they were to change the engine, realistically, they would lose any and all data that they
right,
did,
exactly,
right. Which you can kind of say, okay, but still, look, I still kind of don't agree with it because, Yamaha have had years of understanding that their engine is going to top out very soon.
No, they did. I'm being soft on them, honestly. I'm being sentimental.
They didn't stick with the time, and this goes back to what I said about, they haven't changed their philosophy in years, right? And I wonder, would the DNA of the bikes still remain completely the same from Rossi's 2015 to now? And if it is, then that's 9 years where the philosophy hasn't changed. And
9 years in this business is like an eternity.
Yeah, you're already out of data in 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. Now,
I remember when we started up, we were saying, "Yo, Yamaha has to go with a V4." Remember? That was one of the first things we stated when it came out here. Especially.
Now, concessions is known around the world in all forms of motorsports. Like there's success ballasts and all of this stuff, right? And but I thought it was really interesting because I saw the Formula One CFD things, and just to give people an understanding of concessions is probably going to be a part of life for the rest of the term. But obviously, in aerodynamics in Formula One is probably one of the main things right now. And Red Bull Racing won it. And for the 2024 season, their wind tunnel allowance in hours is 840 hours of wind tunnel time. Okay. Haas, who finished last, will have 1,380 hours to spend in the wind tunnel.
Yeah, that's bullshit. What happens if the victor goes to the spoils? I won. They say, sorry, you won. You get less. We're going to screw you. Why? Because you did so well.
Exactly. And it's 540 hours more Haas have than Red Bull. Now, remember, Red Bull have 840 hours. So it's nearly 100% extra hours onto, it's a good 60-70% of the hours onto it. So I think it's interesting. I know for a fact that those guys in Haas are spending about 10 million less than the actual budget. So the difference in hours, and I don't think an extra 540 hours would cost 10 million. I think it would be way up more. So realistically, why they're giving them that Jake, I don't think they could actually even use the consent. Does that make sense? If you were to find out how much an hour in the wind tunnel costs, right? let's just say pig iron, 100,000. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
500 and they're not going to be able to afford it and run a team in a 135 million budget.
Oh, well,
they're just not going to. So while you look at it, so where Honda will have the money to spend, Yamaha will probably do it on the cheap.
Yeah. I don't know. Yamaha has a big budget. Yamaha is right behind Honda. It goes Honda, Yamaha, KTM, then Ducati.
Well, they probably have a big budget because they fucking did fuck all for the last few years and they saved a few pounds.
What do you think? They have a war chest going on?
I think they'll need something this year anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just fucking like they cannot have another year like they did.
Or are they going to save it until the 20? Like I say, have a war chest and save the money, stack it away for the 2027 regulations.
You see, this is where my concern goes. Right, is that they have now been given, in my view, the concessions, and the world is now watching. Can they, or will they? The world is now watching. Can they, or will they develop? So, this is not. It's not necessarily about it. I think this is more of a PR thing, than anything else, right? Because if they do not develop, right? If they do not develop the bike, and the gap remains, if the gap remains the same, or if the gap remains the same, or if it actually gets worse, this is a public relations exercise disaster.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because like
I thought about this. If I was
it's like a running race, and you have a fucking 1 lap head start in a 1.5 lap race, and you still fucking lose. Why would you buy a Yamaha?
What would I do? What would I do if I was in Yamaha's shoes? I would crank the engine up, right? Give it the power, then give it the aero so it could go around bends, okay? But now your reliability's, this shaky, let's say, right? Let it go. If the engine blows up, I don't think people will come down on them like a brick shit house because it blew up because it was running. If they're showing results, but they're blowing engines every once in a while, I don't think people would mind it that much. I don't think it would be a PR nightmare.
No, it would be far less than playing it safe and
yes, exactly.
Still being half a second a lap slower.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, look, that's what this. I think that's for me. That's what this year is about. Is like pushing the boundaries and pushing it right to the edge. Now, if Yamaha do not do that and perform like they did this year, they're fucking screwed. They're absolutely screwed. And you would have to look at Jarvis. His head would have to roll. Do you know what I mean? If they put up with another year like this, they would have to roll. But then I was looking around the paddock and I was like, who would you replace Lynn Jarvis with?
Oh, you know who we're going to replace him with?
Who?
They've been talking about the ex-Suzuki guy.
No, sure. He's supposed to be going to Honda. Well, actually, he's supposed to be now going to VR46, which I don't think he's going to do.
No.
Rivio? Yeah.
Rivio, that's the name. That's it.
Yeah.
Rivio.
Yeah. But look, we'll see where he ends up. I think
this year they went, oh my God, we can't have a DNF because everybody's going to, shit down our neck. The press is going to shit down our neck. It's racing, folks. And I think that the racing fan is not going to go, oh my God, if they pull off to the side with the DNF. They'd rather see that with, all of a sudden, Quartararo's coming in third or fourth,
Yeah.
So,
and actually something I just wanted to quickly bring up there as well. During the week, I did also read, I have it in my notes here, that Anthony Gobert, now if you've been a fan of racing for years, unfortunately he's receiving palliative care in his final stages of life. So, I don't know the exact illness, but look, thoughts are with him. The Go Show will live on forever. I know he's had his ups and downs and his issues with drugs and that. But look, when he's showing what people do in their personal lives is no real issue to us on the track. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yes, he was. I remember him when he first came in.
So
remember?
Yeah. So look, my thoughts and prayers with him and his family at the time, and it's it's just sad to see another legend of the sport depart, I suppose, soon enough.
You know what happens? That drugs chew up their liver.
I look. I don't know. Is it related to that or whatever? But look, it's just sad to see him go. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was Ducati saying we are not afraid. Now, I think this is a really good thing that.
Did he really say that, or was that one of the?
No, he did. He did say it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking. It's like I said, there's so much bullshit out there. You got to weed through it.
No. Tardazzi really said it. And I think it's really refreshing, right? And like, there's a lot of people out there that do not like the fact that Ducati have the 8 bikes. We've been through this multiple times.
Yes.
And look, they now have 8 bikes. Yes, they have got data off those 8 bikes, right? The bikes, while wholly not the same, like the 22 was more friendly than the 23. Right. Pecco said it, you know what I mean? And they're going back to the direction of the 22 for 24, right? And so realistically, while they can take advantage of some tire testing, because they technically could send 5 fellas out there, or sorry, they could send the 8 ones out there to try 8 different combinations of tires, pressures, whatever they wanted to do to get an understanding. Yes, they 100% could. Where I don't have a problem is that data is open for rider 1 to rider 8 to see.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And they're really getting their mass of their data from the 4 bikes that are the same. There's the 4 factory bikes. So they're really getting the data off of 4 bikes, not 8. And people that hang on to that are looking for an excuse.
No. So look, forget anything about that, right? The data is open. How you and your engineer interpret it is for anyone, is your own business, right? Mm-hmm. Now, where I take my hat off to Ducati, really, is we saw this when Bastianini started to fight with Pecco. Bastianini was on a 21 and Pecco was on a 22. By the end of that season, or midpoint of that season, it was clear Bastianini was going to fight him. And all of a sudden, 22 parts started appearing on that 21 bike, which was vastly different. Okay. Now, if we fast forward to 23, when Jorge Martin started to come into it, all of a sudden, the parts that Pecco was running on his bike started appearing on Martin's bike. The new starting system, the downward ducts, So for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm kind of going, Ducati are being fair to people fighting for the championship. If you're fighting for the championship, you will have nothing different. And that's what they're saying. Of course, for any...
Pedro didn't get anything off of Marquez. Remember when they were to Pedrosa. Pedrosa didn't get any data off of Marquez when they were running together.
No,
that's for sure.
No, there was a fucking solid concrete wall in that garage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Same as Rossi and Lorenzo. Part 1. But no, my point here is that of course the Ducati factory team would love the factory bikes to win it because that's the main bike.
Yeah.
But if they did not want any, if they were worried about other people winning, then they wouldn't give the same spec bike to the satellite team.
Yep.
And they wouldn't give upgraded parts to the satellite teams throughout the season. right? Now, people can also say, "Oh, yeah, but they want the data and they want this." Of course, they want the data.
They're just looking for excuses. They're crying.
Yeah.
They're looking for that. Ducati has there's a controversy. There's cheating. Blah blah blah. Yakety schmackety.
Yeah, look, and I don't necessarily believe it's the case. I believe that and I do believe where where Tardazzi said it. He said, "I am the Lenovo team manager, and if we don't have the best riders to win the championship, that's our fault."
Right.
If a satellite team has a better rider, yeah, they probably bring him into the thing next season, right? But
if we don't have him, it's our fault, but we will fix it next season.
Exactly, and like that's just the way the industry goes, right? All of a sudden, you start winning. Why not?
I'm really surprised they didn't switch Martin this year, though, for 2024. I'm surprised they didn't switch Martin over to Bastianini. I would have, just to play it safe.
I don't know, man. I have a fucking sneaky feeling, right? and I that he's not liked.
Who, Martin? I a sneaky feeling. I would if you
no. And what I mean is that in the structure of Ducati,
right,
he doesn't fit in. He's not one.
I don't think he fit in anywhere with the way he's shooting his mouth off. And I mean, I love him as a rider,
Yeah. And I think his mouth is the problem, and MotoGP and the whole paddock is a very, very fickle place. Like you look at, and one of the people that I always feel very, very sorry for is what's his name? I can't remember his name now. It'll come to me. He wears a dicky bow when he gets on the podium in Moto 2.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
But he got the whole body tattoo, neck tattoos.
I think he stopped that. I don't know why.
He stopped. He stopped it. I think he got warned about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. But I think he was riding for Pons last year. I can't remember his name. I'm sure someone will leave it in the comments. But again, he is talented enough to go to MotoGP. But he came out and said MotoGP teams will not take me because of my tattoos and how I look. So you're like, so it is about image. It is about portraying how the team, which is fair enough. Listen, look, they're putting hundreds of million, a good few million into it, and it has been like it'll be interesting to see next season. Like if he wins the championship and they didn't take him, well, then they're publicizing that they have a problem with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they had every excuse this year to fuck Bastianini out the door, and they didn't.
Yeah,
that's kind of thing. So that leads me more so to believe that he doesn't really fit in with the scope, or they're trying to be very loyal to Enya, which
how loyal can you be?
Yeah, look, and I think look personally myself. I think the jump from the 21 to the 23 for Enya was too much. He didn't have enough experience to learn how to set up a factory bike.
And he said, he flat said, I don't know how to set up bikes. They set them up for me, and I jump on the bike. I mean, he made, no bones about it.
And then look, the injuries throughout the year. Look, none of this really, really helps anyone, right?
Especially Martin keeps opening his mouth. Somebody should send him a T-shirt, and he opens it up and says, "Shut up."
Yeah. No, look, it's like he was on again during the week saying, "Oh, I'd look at Honda, I'd look at the, for me, I think you need to be very careful because Gigi will say, "Go, well, fuck off to Honda."
Yeah. Oh, Could you see trying to get those lean angles on a Honda? He goes
but it's not even that. It's so silly because you have the likes of Morbidelli not really going to threaten him, I don't think, right?
No.
But you have Bezzecchi that's hungry for a Ducati factory seat.
Yep.
He's Italian. He has charisma. He has
the speed.
He shuts up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He just needs consistency.
he won't cause a fuss. Let's just call it.
Yeah.
In the team. Whereas, I'm not 100% sure.
But I like Martin.
I do. I like him. I think he's a great rider.
Riding is phenomenal.
Now they say when you go fast, you can say what you like, which is true. To a point, but it's contracts time of the year as well. So I think, and I think the first 3 months of this season, once the season gets going, will be unbelievably the fucking silly season is going to be demented. I think every rider is going to be on every fucking bike, and probably 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
And it's going to be just batshit crazy. But I am looking forward.
I can't imagine that what the rat sites are going to be like. Oh, they'll be coming out 2 a day, 3 a day. You know. Yeah. Did they actually call it ape shit?
Did I actually tell you about? I actually made one of those AI videos while in bed the other night. So I was sitting up. I was actually looking through other news sites and whatever. And I wanted to see how they're pulling the stories. So I took 3 lines out of a story, and you put it into this machine, and it makes the video. So it pulls little clips from things, and it makes these little videos for you. I was just like, and it took 2.5 minutes. So what I was doing is it scours it scrapes articles, and then it puts the articles together from different articles that are out there. So it would take scripts from some of my YouTube videos or other people's YouTube videos, some actually published articles and stuff like that. And I found it very, very interesting. And the thing that I find so funny about these now, I'll be honest, I've only checked out 1 or 2. And then I removed them from seeing them on my feed because I don't want to see them shite, to be honest.
They're like tabloid sites that you get at the supermarket.
Yeah, but look, it's like there's a couple of things, right? So I'm very privileged to have 10,000 subscribers, right? Mm-hmm. And if I was to put out a poll, I would probably get maybe 100, maybe 150 responses, and that's with a large enough subscriber base. But these guys would be putting out a poll, and they'd have 1,500 responses, and they'd only have 2,000 or 200 subscribers, or 5,000 subscribers, and you're like, that's not possible. Do you know what I mean? The algorithm will not sprint you that far, that fast. But look, the content it's crap. A lot of the comments that I see are like, "Oh, I love your content, man." You know, they're bought. You can see it, and I did send you something the other day that I get 100,000 subscribers for $900.
No, it wasn't 900, was it? It was.
No, the views then
$90.
For views then. It was like 50,000 for $15.
The views, you can see somebody's, it has 100 subscribers and it has 50,000 views. Like how many times are these people watching this thing? So
look, pinch of salt is what what I do for myself.
But it's another one. Another one is a tabloid site, and it doesn't look like a tabloid site. You wouldn't think it, but it's almost like a half tabloid site. That Motorsport, the one that Matt Oxley works for, or what Matt Oxley owns, has
Motorsport.com, is it?
Motorsport, yeah, I think it's Motorsport.com, and he talks shit too.
Well, look, again, pinch of salt.
Look, he never apologized. I keep hitting him on that. He never apologized for saying that the Ducati was cheating and all that.
But I think he's paid the price on that. Like, you know what I mean? Look, he's not welcome in the Ducati team.
Yeah, he's still spouting off though that they cheated. I'm like, buddy.
Yeah. Look, Yamaha, and look, for people's reference, Yamaha were done for it the week before. But he failed to mention that in his article, and I think that's where
I know. Yeah.
People had the issue. But look, Matt Oxley would not really be one of the issues or concerns for me. It's it's the ones that are out there where people are believing that they're a successful channel. You have 2,000 you 2,000 subscribers, and every video you get is 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views, and you're like,
and folks, we're not the only one, because when you look down on the responses, they'll have yes, and more clickbait, please. Stop! It's all clickbait. You're full of crap. Get a dozen people saying just crap.
And like, look,
Alan Green keeps going over there. I'm like, Alan, this is crap. Why you keep going? Because the guy's a Honda fanboy, and they get together. He wants to hear somebody have something positive to say.
Alan is hopeful. Let's just
that,
and more power to Alan for being.
But at least he's at least realistic. He isn't.
Yeah.
He's hopeful. He knows the problem, but at least he's realistic of the situation.
Yeah. Also, I must thank CB. He sends me on stuff on Instagram all the time, very funny stuff. So, and Brett as well, who emails. But yeah, look, for those channels, look, you can make the videos in 2 minutes. They scrape other people's stuff. It's not. Look, if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. For me, it makes life for people that are genuinely doing it difficult, because 99% of all these people, what these people are doing is fake. It's getting you in there and not even discussing the point that you're supposed to be watching. And I suppose, look, just for creators out there, because there is genuine MotoGP creators out there, and I will say that. And like
that's a good one. The
where I always say this is, like, if you look at genuine mainstream sites, what is a genuine mainstream site is for me is someone either that is in the paddock or is knowledgeable, or the stories check out across multiple sources, right?
Yeah.
Not just one source, or if it's one source and then 2 days later it comes out, right?
Yeah.
But like, you see some of the mainstream ones, maybe like even Crash, for example, they would release a video. They have 21,000 subscribers. They get maybe 10,000 views.
Yeah, right.
How can someone come in who has never had a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
In their first week have videos doing 80, 90,000 views? It does not happen. I've always said it here. And if you go back to the very first video that I did 2 years ago now, actually, I forgot that I'm on YouTube 2 years now, since the 1st of January. 2 years ago, I got, like, my first day, I got on, I actually got like single digit views on my video, right? So look, it doesn't happen overnight unless you are a celebrity or you're trending about a celebrity. A lot of the stuff that they're doing, it's not, it is clickbait.
And the reason, folks, I got hooked up with Mac there was, I was impressed that that's just the knowledge he had, and the fact that he was an avid, or still is an avid Yamaha fan, but when they screw up or they're low, he would admit it. He would not make up shit. He was like, Yamaha stink right now. At least he was honest. He was honest about it. He didn't.
Yamaha is
laze it over or whatever. You know what I mean? Talk. Sunshine and lollipops.
Well, look, racing is racing,
man,
and that's. But look, it's just, for me, it's just, I like to see people enjoy and be informed. Not saying everything I've ever said is right or correct. I've often made balls of things, right?
Or we get the wrong information.
But again, we own that. You know what I mean? And we would say we were wrong. For me, I just, when I see the new ones coming on, look, I know for a fact they're probably all one person.
They are one person.
And that person got banned last year. He was a famous person of MotoGP News, and gave me a lot of grief actually last year.
He didn't like me either. Let me tell you.
Oh no, he used to email me regularly saying that my stories were shit, and yes, so Anyway, look, he is. I believe that it's the same person.
Yeah. By the way, different subject. I want to shock everybody. I almost bought a Honda. Came this close.
Girlfriend, you don't have the balls to buy a Honda, Jake.
No, I've had a for Christ, I've had 20, 30 Hondas. But anyhow.
Not in the last 2 years. You don't have
No, not in the last. I almost bought the RCV 213V. I had the money in hand, and it went from 40, but that went 40,000 to 80,000. Then it went to $120,000, if you recall. Yeah. So that was out the window. And it turned out to be crap anyway. But anyhow, girlfriend's daughter goes to college, and I saw that the Honda CB, the new CB 350, it's supposed to be a retro bike.
Okay.
Cutest thing. Beautiful looking little thing. And I said, it looks like a 1950s bike. So I said, oh, she'll love that. Single cylinder, right? It only has 20 horsepower. But then guess what? It was $7,000. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, yeah, I could buy the Triumph Speed 400 for $49.95. You know, I'm like, $7,000. And today it's not. And today there's no guarantee that it's going to be reliable like they used to be. You know.
Yeah, I get you.
But I came close, guys.
So on that bombshell, we'll end today's episode. Jake almost bought a Honda.
Take it easy, folks.
We'll see you next week. Have fun, enjoy, and we're 1 week closer to MotoGP.
We're getting there.